All right, and we're live. Gentlemen, maybe a few ladies as well. Welcome to tonight's event. How to lose 20 pounds or more and more in 90 days without giving up carbs and alcohol. A lot of people think it's just not possible, but I'm doing it with my clients every single day of the week. Now, if you're coming into this, let me know where you're from. If you want to ask a question, by all means, drop a question into the chat. If I see it pop up on the screen, I'll be completely honest, if I see you and it doesn't interrupt me too much with the flow of the presentation, I'll put the comment on the screen, I'll answer it for the benefit of everyone else, but also going to do a Q&A at the end of the presentation. So if you hang around, we'll make sure we do a Q&A at the end. So we'll just wait a couple of minutes to see who's coming in. Let me know where you are, or who you are and why you're joining tonight's presentation. Anyone coming in? Anyone coming in? Very quiet tonight. All right, guys, we'll crack on. If you're coming in at any time, if you're just coming in now, let me know where you're from. If you've got any questions, drop them into the chat. If not, we'll do a Q&A at the end of the presentation. All right, we're going to start with some basics because fat loss is very, very simple and people overcomplicate the whole deal. So we're going to go back to the beginning, start with some basics, and we'll take it from there. But for some of you that don't know me, most of you do, if you're following me on LinkedIn, you'll know exactly who I am, the type of videos that I do, what I'm about. But for those that don't know me, this is me. Obviously, Gab Gillibrand, got my degree in exercise sports science back in 1993, graduated in 96. I'm certified sports nutritionist with the ISSN, which is the International Society of Sports Nutrition. I've written, featured in Men's Health, Men's Fitness, Hello, OK, and the Times newspaper. And I've trained and coached over 300 men in the last 4 years. Actually, that's closer to 400 in the last 5 years now. Published author, wrote the book, The GHG Method, 3 years ago, and it sold about 2,000 copies now in total. So that's who I am. And you may have seen some of my testimonials. We've got Robin, lost 37 pounds in 12 weeks, Mark, 33. All of these guys you see here in front of you, they all lost this weight in 12 weeks. Matt, 30 pounds, Duncan, 28 pounds, and then Mike, 22 pounds, Steve, 38 pounds, okay? And if you want a free copy, I've got a cheat sheet. If you want a free copy of this cheat sheet, it's PDF with some great areas on sleep, stress, testosterone, a lot of the stuff that I teach in my coaching program. I'm more than happy to send this to you. So if you want a free copy, email me, hello@gabgillibrand.com, and I will get that to you. Or you can catch up in the DMs and LinkedIn, and I'll send you over a copy. No problem whatsoever. All right, on to the good stuff. So, as I said, we're going to keep it nice and simple. So when someone talks about macros, they're referring to their macronutrients. And we're talking carbs, protein, fat, and you could actually add alcohol in there. Alcohol is a macronutrient, but it's not a macronutrient that we need to function as human beings. Look, we like it, but we don't actually need it to function. 1 gram of carb will have 4 calories, 1 gram of protein will have 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. 1 gram of alcohol has 7 calories. Now, why is this important? Because the value of calories is is really fat loss. If you don't understand how nutrition works, you don't understand the value of calories. This is why most people overeat and have weight to lose. Once you understand the basics around nutrition, and the sort of the analogy that I like to look at, if I give a £5 note or a $5 note to a 5-year-old, they went into a shop, they would know they were holding cash in their hands, but they would have no idea of the value of that £5 note. They would no idea how much they could actually buy in the shop. If you don't understand how many calories are in a gram of the macronutrients, it's effectively the same as a 5-year-old with a £5 note. No clue whatsoever when it comes to the value of those calories. So we have to learn this. Okay. Oh, sorry, I jumped on. And there's 3 energy phases with losing weight and gaining weight. And forgive me if this is basic to you, but the fact that you signed up for this presentation would suggest that you might not know even some of the basics. Okay, so if you're in a surplus, this means you're simply taking in more energy than you're burning. Most people are doing that, and that's why they gain weight. What happens is the body will take all the energy that it needs, the surplus, it has to get rid of it somewhere, and it will very effectively store it in the form of body fat. Okay, that's what we call surplus, and that's when we get fat. When you get fat, when I get fat. When you're neither gaining weight or losing weight, whether it's on purpose or accidental, you're in what we call maintenance. And this is somewhere along the lines, the equation, maybe you're eating more at the weekends, eating a little bit less during the week, your energy balance is equal and you're not gaining weight, you're not losing weight, you're in maintenance. Now, what we're trying to do, trying to lose weight, whether it's over 90 days or any period, we have to be in what we call a calorie deficit. And this is simply where you're burning more than you're taking in. And weight loss, and I'll repeat this several times throughout this presentation, weight loss can only occur when you're in a calorie deficit, regardless of the diet that you go on. Okay. There is our energy balance equation. CICO, that means calories in versus calories out. Now, a lot of people say that it's outdated and counting calories doesn't work. It absolutely works. I've worked with literally 500 clients, probably close to 1,000 clients in the last 15 years, whether it was online or in person. And I've never had one person that calories in, calories out doesn't work for. And I want you to look at your calories like you would your finances. You've got money coming in, whether you're employed or self-employed, you've got X amount of money coming in, your salary or whatever money you're taking. You've got your outgoings, you've got your mortgage, you've got your car payments, you've got your health payments, etc. So you can balance that. The idea is to have a bit more money at the end of the month, a little more money left than you have coming in. That's the aim. Now we're trying to do the opposite. Okay, we've got all the food coming in, food and drink coming on this side. That's calories in versus calories out, which is energy expenditure. Okay, so look at your calories like you would finances, and you have a budget. And we basically give clients a budget. They're going to get a daily budget and they're going to get a weekly budget. Okay, I'll explain exactly how that works. Here's an example. Excuse me. Let's say, and I've rounded this up to make it nice and easy. Let's say a client of mine is on 2,000 calories per day. We've worked out through working out their body mass, their body fat, their exercise, their goals, their current weight, and where their status is in terms of body fat and muscle, where they want to get to. We've worked out that 2,000 calories a day is going to create a nice deficit for them. The 2,000 calories times 7 is obviously 14,000 calories for the week. Okay, so we give them a budget. You've got a daily budget, 2,000, 14,000 for the week. They would also give someone a daily protein target, 140 grams per day. I've just put that up as an example. But what we do, and I'm going to go into the actual amounts of protein that I recommend for most people. In this example, this chap, this was actually a client of mine, this chap has got 140 grams per day. Now, the only target that I want them to hit is trying to hit 140 grams per day. And then they can make up the rest of those calories any way they choose. Fats, carbohydrates, carbs could be higher, fats would have to be lower, fats could be higher, carbs would have to be much lower. Okay, so total calories will trump everything, and a daily protein target. And it's literally your budget. You can do whatever you want with it. But what this does, it offers the client long-term adherence and long-term sustainability, which equals happy clients. Clients don't feel like they're on a diet because all they've got to do is hit a target, hit a number, don't exceed their budget, and they can lose weight every single week, which is what I'm doing with my clients. A couple of phrases or sort of things that you need to know. You may have heard this. BMR is your basal metabolic rate. This is the amount of calories that you will burn just by being alive. If you got out of your bed or you got up in the morning and laid on the sofa all day and did nothing, literally did nothing for 24 hours, your body would still burn a lot of calories. And that's just from normal body function, looking after your brain, keeping you alive, making your organs function correctly. So that's your BMR. Okay. The TDEE is total daily energy expenditure. So this is the energy that you use over the whole day. So that's the BMR plus the stuff that you do throughout the day. Normal activity, walking around, playing with the kids, walking the dog, going to the gym, everything put together. Okay, and the third thing I want you to know, NEAT, is what we call non-exercise activity thermogenesis. These are the calories that are burnt when you're not at the gym. So it could be going for a walk, it could be sitting watching the TV, fidgeting, it could be cleaning the car, doing the housework, anything that is just non-actual activity, like going for the run, going to the gym. But it's very, very important because increasing your NEAT will actually make a huge difference to the amount of calories you burn on a daily basis, even a weekly basis. So those are three terms I want you to be aware of. Now, this is the old school way of getting people to stick to a plan and getting them helping to lose weight. Many of you have been on diets. I know, put your hand up if you've been on a diet where you have been told not to eat food. Okay, I know some of you are putting your hands up. Okay, elimination, restriction, can't eat carbs, need to do this, shouldn't eat this, avoid this. Okay, so that's the old school. You just don't need to do that. Set meal plans. I've worked out over the years that set meal plans do not work. They do not work because it's too restrictive for people. Macros were very important, like saying you have to have these amount of grams of protein, this amount of fat, this amount of carbohydrates. It doesn't actually matter. Total calories and protein are the only macros that I would set a client. Now, the old school, there's no sustainability. When you tell clients, when you tell anyone you can't have this and you have to have this, people feel restricted. They feel like they're on a diet. They feel like there's no way I can stay doing this forever. Okay, so that's the old school. Now, I want you to think about, does your diet have all of these? I'm going to show you the new way, the way that I work with my clients, my customers, and how they never feel restricted and still get to eat whatever they want within reason and still lose weight every single week. So this is what I've broken down a successful diet plan needs to have. No elimination of carbs and sugar. Now, most people smile when I tell them that. Okay, anyone that says that you need to reduce or eliminate carbs and sugar is talking complete rubbish. It's just not true. Okay, there's no elimination of alcohol. Excuse me. Now, 5 pints, or 10 pints 5 nights of the week is not going to help anyone. But all of my clients, if they enjoy a drink, I tell them to actually have a couple of drinks every single week because, again, we're looking at sustainability. Okay. The third thing, the food in front of you must be enjoyable and it must be affordable. If you can't afford to do it, you're not going to last on it. It must be enjoyable. If you're looking at the food in front of you and it's like rabbit food, how long are you actually going to sustain that? So it's not going to happen, is it? And here's the big one as well. It must be the same as everyone else. And that means friends, family, work colleagues, anyone you meet. If you're on a special diet, how long are you going to stay on that for? Now, people go on keto, they go on vegan, they go on these different diets, and there's nothing wrong with those diets, but they all work because they all work with the same mechanism by being in a calorie deficit. But when it's different to everyone else, imagine coming home and let's assume that your wife is cooking dinner tonight. Maybe you cook the dinner, but let's say assume your wife's cooking dinner and then she's cooking something for herself. Maybe she's cooking something slightly different for the children. And then she's got to cook something for you that's completely different. Wouldn't it be a lot easier if you could all eat the same food? And on what I teach my clients, you absolutely can. We just need to hit the numbers. So it's not about changing the food sources. It's about hitting numbers, and we can make those numbers work to our advantage. Okay, and here's the big one. It's got to be sustainable, not just for 12 weeks, which is why I work with clients for the initial period. They're obligated to work with me when they join the program. It's got to be sustainable for 12 months, 12 years, which means it's not a diet. Which means it's not a diet, it just becomes a way that they live. Okay. And I mentioned it before, weight loss can only occur in a deficit. And what does that actually mean? When you've heard me say a calorie deficit, you may have heard of other people talk about calorie deficit. Now, this is actually my definition of what a calorie deficit is. I'm going to read it out to you. I know you can read, but I'm going to read it out to you all the same. So you're going to eat fewer calories than you burn, or burn more calories than you consume. Fat loss is simply staying there for as long as you can whilst maintaining every other area of your life. Okay, so that's what a calorie deficit is. Now I'm going to talk about protein, and people say, protein is probably the most important macronutrient when it comes to losing weight and building muscle for sure. And you know what? It probably is. It probably is. As you notice, I told everyone to hit a calorie target and to have a protein target. And there's several reasons why we want people to hit that amount of protein. And what we know is it's the biggest appetite and hunger suppressor. Okay. So if we were to take the chap doing 2,000 calories and 140 grams of protein, and if we could clone him and the calories were matched, 2,000 calories, yet he was only getting 70 or 80 grams of protein, he would feel more hungry on fewer grams of protein than he would on a higher amount. So aim for a high amount of protein will suppress your hunger and your appetite. Obviously, we know it builds muscle strength and it's going to promote body composition. The more muscle and strength you can build, you're going to burn body fat, you're going to build muscle, which means your body composition is going to improve, which basically that just means you have the ratio from muscle to fat is in your favor, in favor of muscle. Okay, we don't want the opposite. We don't want to have more body fat than muscle. So you could be training very hard in the gym, but if your protein was low, you wouldn't be building as much strength, certainly, and you definitely wouldn't be putting down as much lean body mass. So we want it for muscle strength and body composition. And the great thing with protein as well, it promotes slow and steady energy release. So imagine that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What we want with high protein diet is we tend to get a nice up, down to the next meal, up to the next meal. When the super high carb and low protein, we tend to get more of a spike. So you get more of this yo-yo effect or the roller coaster effect, which tends to make people more hungry. Same calories, but you can make your calories go that much further by having a high protein diet and getting a nice slow energy release between meals. Now here's the big one. TEF, which is the thermic effect of food. Now protein has a thermic effect of food of about 20 to 30%, which means 20 to 30% of protein calories are actually burnt in eating, digestion, and elimination. So let's say you eat 100 calories, which would be 25 grams of protein, because there's 4 calories in 1 gram of protein. 100 calories, 20 to 30 of those calories would actually be burnt just by eating it. So it's like, it's why I think muscle is like expensive real estate, like a 2-bedroom flat in New York. So the more muscle you've got, you're actually going to be burning more calories. So a high protein diet is actually going to help you burn calories in the process. Now, although it's important, you can't hang your hat on it, because thermic effect of food probably only accounts for 10% of your calorie burn. So if you're eating 2,000 calories, perhaps you're going to burn 150 to 200 extra calories a day. So it's significant, but it's not hugely significant. You can rely just on protein. You still have to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. Now, to compare protein to carbohydrates is about 15 to 20%, and fat is 0 to 3%. So fat is double the amount of calories gram for gram, and the thermic effect of food is almost non-existent. Okay, the amount of protein that I recommend for clients, excuse me, 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilo of intended body weight. So let's say you weigh 100 kilos or 220 pounds, and you want to get to 80 kilos, which is what, about 180 pounds, something like that. Okay, work out in kilos. You're trying to get from 100 to 80 kilos. You want to lose 20 kilos. We would give you the amount of food based on your target body weight, and the protein would be 1.5 grams. So in that instance, if it was 1.5, it would be 120 grams of protein. If it was 2 grams, it would be 160. Now, why the difference? Why 1.5 to 2? If someone was training with heavy weights 3, 4, 5 times a week, we would almost always go for 2 grams. If someone was just doing maybe a couple of lighter sessions, more cardio based, we would drop the protein to 1.5. Going for 160 grams would probably be overkill. Certainly wouldn't do any harm, but it just wouldn't necessarily be necessary. So that's what we would aim for in grams of protein. Now, another little trick that I help people lose weight with is just what we call boosting the metabolism with the low-hanging fruit. And I get all of my clients to do between 5 and 10,000 steps per day. And people say, well, that's not going to do much. Actually, if you were to do that every single day, which is about 30 to 45-minute walk for some people, it might only burn a couple hundred calories, but what we're trying to do is decrease the calories on this side, which is calories in, increase what we burn here, and it enables us to get into that calorie deficit that much easier. So this is the baseline. This is what I would call like a prescription across the board, 7 days a week, before we would even look at going on the Peloton or going to the gym or doing any other activity. So it's just a given. Try and get between 5 to 10,000 steps a day. And it's not just going for an actual walk. Just normal movement in the office, at home, playing with the kids, all counts. So it's more of a conscious thought process of being as active as possible. If you're doing nothing and you're a desk jockey all day, you're actually going to have to physically go out and do a walk. But I've had clients lose over 20 pounds in 90 days simply by controlling their calories, increasing the protein, and doing 5 to 10,000 steps a day. Okay, low hanging fruit. You don't need any skill. There's no barrier. You don't need any training kit. You can literally, in your suit, if you're still at work, go for a walk at lunchtime, after work, before work. It's achievable for everyone as long as someone can actually walk, is physically capable of walking. Very, very simple, overlooked tip often. Now, weight loss is very simple, chaps. Weight loss is very, very simple, but it's not easy. Now, why is it easy? Well, we wouldn't be having this conversation if it was that easy. If it was simply controlling calories, increasing what you burn, effectively that is what fat loss is. But if it was that easy, why do so many people struggle? And I'll tell you why. And it's really down to what I call the psychology of weight loss. I think there's two parts of the equation of weight loss. Is what I call mechanical side of weight loss, the skill set, which is controlling calories, tracking them, increasing what you burn. That's the actual physical activities you have to do. Skill set or the mechanics. The mindset or the psychology of weight loss is the hard part. Like I said, that's simple. It's not rocket science, but what we're looking at now is very, very tricky for a lot of people. And it's come down to things like the addictive nature of food. Now, just to clear this up, sugar itself is not addictive. But the combination of sugar, fat, the smell, the taste, the crunch. Think of all your favorite foods, your kryptonite. For me, it's Doritos. If we were to look at the individual ingredients, they mean nothing. When you combine them, it's like crack cocaine. Okay, so sugar itself is not addictive, but things that have sugar in can be. Look at a cake or a cookie or a muffin or a donut or a biscuit. It's a mixture of sugar, oil, butter. So fats and sugars combined in that combination, the smell, the texture, that can be very, very addictive. So food itself is very, very addictive. And it's one of the hardest addictions to break because it's the only substance or drug-like substance we have to have as human beings. Think about alcohol, heroin, cocaine, nicotine, everything that people love and abuse, we don't actually have to have them to function. But food, we have to. So it's like giving a drug addict, just have 3 lines of cocaine, but not the whole gram. Just have enough calories that you don't get fat, but not too much that you put weight on. Okay, so the food is very, very addictive. But the self-limiting beliefs can be the biggest one. People that struggle with their weight loss, they've often tried things before, which means they've tried and they've failed. Or maybe they've tried many things, they've given up, they've quit, someone's told them it's not going to work. They have self-loathing. So I can never stick to a plan. I'm just useless, fucking useless. So there's all this bullshit story going around in my head about why people can't lose weight. And maybe they've tried 3 or 4 times before and failed. And what that means is they tried something that was never going to work anyway. Or maybe they tried for a few weeks and quit and then told themselves, see, it never works. So there's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Those self-limiting beliefs almost create the failure. That failure then gives you evidence that this was never going to work anyway. So it's like a vicious circle going down and down and down. Nothing's going to work. So self-limiting beliefs are often holding people back. And on top of that, the industry is so confusing. You've got industry experts, not me, by the way, but you've got people just spouting bullshit. You've got keto zealots, you've got vegan zealots, you've got low carb, you've got this, you've got 100 different diets out there on the market. And they all work by the same mechanism, being in a calorie deficit. But every single one will tell you that they're better than the next one. There's no name for what I do. There's no name for that. There's no sexy name, because it's not a diet. It's controlling your calories, keeping your protein up. That's it. That's how you lose body fat. Okay, so you've got the industry bullshit that's confusing people. And here's the thing as well, everyone's an expert. Because we all eat food, everyone feels like they have got almost the right to say what they think works. And you often get this us for you mentality. If you're a vegan, you think this is the way to live. If you're into keto, you think fasting and keto is the way. If you're into some other bullshit, my way of eating is so much more superior than yours. There's no superior way of eating for anyone, because some people love keto and thrive on it. Some people love vegan and thrive on it. Some people do what I do and thrive on it. But there's no one way that's better than the next, because they all work exactly the same by being in a calorie deficit. What I've tried to do is dispel all the bullshit, get rid of it all, and give clients the easiest and the most sustainable way, without being on a diet, without being restrictive, without cutting anything out, and something that is sustainable for life. Okay, still allows them to have a drink, still allows them to have some junk food every now and then, and still get results at the end of the week. Okay. And I just mentioned that the best diet in the world is the one that you can stay on the longest. If you love keto and don't ever want to eat carbohydrates, guess what you should do? You should stay on keto. If you love being a vegan and it's working and you're getting results and you feel good and your sleep's good and your energy's good, guess what? Stay a vegan. But if you can't see yourself eating like that for the rest of your life, you shouldn't do it for 12 weeks. Okay, there's not one person that once they finish working with me decides I'm going to go back to how I was eating before, because I'm showing them that they can still eat like they do now, but by controlling the calories and hitting a few markers, they can still enjoy all the foods they didn't think they can have. It's by far the most effective way that I know, and I've been doing this shit for 25 years. So, but the best diet is the one that you can stay on the longest. So if someone says to me that, Gav, I love keto, I'm getting great results, I feel good on it, would I ever tell them to do what I'm doing? No, I wouldn't. And that's the difference between what I'm showing people. I'm not going to say that what I do is superior to you and your diet if it's working for you. But if you're looking for a solution and you can't find something that's working for you and you don't know how to do this, this is going to work every single time. Hope that helps. All right, guys, I wanted to keep that reasonably brief. I mentioned there's that the cheat sheet. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you took some value from that. If you want a copy, please email me, hello@gavgillibrand.com. And also, chaps, if you want to book a call, I'm more than happy to talk this through. If you're struggling with your weight, if you're not sure where to turn to, if you've resonated with anything I said, obviously there's more to it than this, but I'm more than happy to, we'll book a 15-minute call. We'll find out where you are with your health and fitness, how much weight you want to lose, what's the obstacles in the way, and I'll tell you exactly how to do this. We'll put a plan in place. I'll tell you exactly what I would do if I was working with you as a client. No strings attached. This is not a sales call. Keep your credit card in your pocket. I'm not going to try and sell you anything on this. Now, I will try and sell you something on the follow-up call. If you like what I say on this call, and you've got 20 or 30 pounds to lose and you're struggling, I would invite you to another call where I can show you how the coaching works. But this call is no obligation, and I promise you it's just value, and I will show you how much that I can help you put a plan in place. And a lot of people that I have this call with don't go on to a second call. Okay, so don't feel obliged. You have to do that. So gavgillibrand.com, book a call. If you want the where's that? If you want a free copy, please email me, hello@gavgillibrand.com. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it here. If there's any other questions coming in, I can't see anyone. Hope you enjoyed that, and I shall see you all very soon. All the best.